place. Here we go, Saturday class again. This week I would like you to work something from the kitchen. I worked with simple spoon and knife, and we're using watercolor pencils. Just a few will do the job. We're also working with a just biro pen or normal pen you use for writing. And it's about, having that kind of almost illustration like design where you can see colors mixing. They're not realistic colors, but they make the object look really interesting, colorful, and you can get inspired from something from your kitchen. It doesn't have to be what I've done here in the video. Use different objects and let me know how that worked for you. Bye bye. Okay, let's get started. So this project has like few stages. They're very easy. I explain to you step by step. So the first one is just picking up what the household object you want to use for the outlines. And here I worked with the spoon and knife. So I just placed them, and of course they're quite difficult to outline because they're not flat. So don't worry about the outlines. They don't have to be perfect. It's just to get the main shape of the object you're working with. So I've done that with my just a standard pen, which is not best quality, already been leaking into my fingers with the ink, but okay. So that's the first stage. Then just to kind of refresh our visual skills, let's pick up different color temperature for each object. So by color temperature, I mean cool and warm. And I'm working with colored pencils, and they're different brands, so work with whatever you've got. So for this one I'm picking up blue and pink, which comes from cool spectrum of the color wheel, and for this one I'm going with yellow and orange, which comes from warm spectrum of color wheel. So that's what I'm doing. And you also need just a water and brush to blend your watercolor pencils. So I'm working with watercolor pencils, which are very easy to use material, and they're not expensive. So if you don't have one, if you don't have any, have a look if how it works here, and maybe this is something you would like to get in for your creative projects. Right, let's start with the spoon. So the blue is going to be for my darks, purple is going to be for my mid-tones, and just fitting into that blue. So I'm starting with blue, and I'm placing an object next to me. Metal objects are quite hard because it's like, you get impression, oh, it's all metal, it's all silver color-wise, but it's not. So I can see highlight here, mid-tone here, dark, 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 up to here, it's finishing here, then we have lighter tone, and we have a bit of highlight here, and definitely dark at the edges. This is not about, getting this perfect picture, just to get those tones, and they will blend really nicely with watercolor pencil. So what I'm going to do is just start laying down the color where I can see darks. And with watercolor pencils, because we will blend them with water, I try to have this more circle movement, so it will blend nicely. But if it's the edge, you can create like a line. Okay, so that's dark is going up to here. Here we have like a mid-tone, which we can use the pink for. If you want it really dark, just press your pencil a bit harder. So that's my blues. You can always come back to them. Now pinky. So I'm just gonna go kind of mid tones are. And try to preserve, this is like a highlight area, try to preserve, and this one here, highlights. Okay, so next stage is blending, and you can always come back to it when it's dry and add more pencil. So let's just start blending. I'm starting with the pink areas because this is the lighter color. Oh, it's blending nicely. Don't worry if you go outside the line a bit. You can pick that up with a tissue or just leave it. It's up to you. If you have tissue. Now going into blues, blend them into pink a bit. Sometimes you may want to clean the brush if it picks up too much of the color. So I want to preserve this highlight here, just going to make it even a bit lighter by picking up some of the pigment. Okay, so we're going to leave that to dry. Just notice this area as well. And you know, it's up to you how much you blend. You can blend it fully, you can leave some marks as so they look like just a standard pencil. I like to blend it. Okay, and so that's that stage. I'm gonna let that dry. The knife. So I have oranges and yellows, and I do the same. Let this get to the same stage, and I show you the second stage. Okay, so we have those two colored in watercolor pencils. So the next stage is my favorite. It's called definition and detail. So you have two ways of going. Well, two things you can do. First, you can define the color more with now on the dry artwork with your pencil. So you just add a little bit more wherever you want, but without blending, because you've done the blending stage. Sometimes it's not necessarily, sometimes it's really nice just to define those dark areas. Let's just add more color. So that's that. Just do the blue ones. I think this one's still a bit wet. I didn't use watercolor paper, so you can see my artwork is a bit suffering because of paper and being great, but that's fine. You can work on, this is just a sketching paper. Okay, and then we're going to define, that's my favorite stage, the outlines and add some detail. So for this pawn, I want it to be more 3D. So I'm working on assumption that it's a little bit lifted from this side, so I can see some areas more 3D and darker. And you go round, you can define if you want everything or just some of the areas where you know they'll be likely to be visible. See that? That's already bringing it up. Also, if you want, you can add a little detail. So let's imagine there was a hole in that part. Here we go. I'll have that, something like that. Going around again, but not pressing my pen with so much, not less pressure than on the left hand side. And this gives you this effect of almost like illustration type of drawing. It's a bit more on this side. And sometimes I just like to add a little bit of like texture, kind of. Dots. Okay, so this one is, I think, almost done. Go like that. And we can do the same with another object. So here I'm even creating a little bit of pattern for this side. Okay, so you can see already how this side is more defined. By just using the same pencil. Sorry, pen. See, I'm lost in it now because I'm creating, I can't control my language. So this is the magic of daily objects for you, or kitchen objects, and maybe you can find, you know, different shapes, different sizes of objects to work with, and then you can put them on one page. So have fun. Let me know how that worked for you. Bye bye.